All right, let's dive in. Today, we're looking at a perspective on faith that really challenges the way a lot of us think about it. It's an idea that swaps out loud, absolute certainty for something quieter, something more personal, something rooted in humility. Let's get into it.
So let's just start with this big question right here. What if that common image we have of faith, as this unshakable, absolute knowledge, is kind of missing the point? What if its real power, its true nature, is actually something a lot softer, a lot gentler? This is the core idea we're going to unpack today.
To really understand this perspective, we first have to get super clear on what it isn't. And that means we've got to challenge a really common connection people make, the one between faith and pride.
Think about it. So often, faith gets portrayed as having all the answers, right? It's this position of strength that can honestly come across as a little bit of superiority. It's that feeling of being on a higher level because you just know. But what if that's a complete misunderstanding of what it's all about?
This quote just cuts right to the heart of it. Faith isn't meant to be some high perch that you look down from. It's not about being elevated or being better than anyone else. It's a completely different way of being in the world.
So here we can see two totally different paths laid out. On one side, you've got this external show, right? It's all about pride, ego, shouting about it. But the other side, that's an internal experience. It's rooted in humility and this idea of quiet growth. And that difference is everything. It's this huge shift from performing for others to a personal practice, just for you.
Okay, so if faith isn't about pride, then what is it? Well, the alternative we're exploring here is really powerful. The idea is that faith isn't just a list of things you believe, but a fundamental attitude you carry with you.
This definition is so important. Faith here is an attitude of trust. And just listen to the words used. Gentle humility, whispers. It's this quiet, honest admission that, hey, you don't have it all figured out. The real strength here isn't in knowing everything, but in trusting that you're guided even when you don't know.
And this is where it all changes. As soon as you set aside that nagging ego that demands answers and wants to feel superior, this huge burden just lifts. Suddenly, faith isn't heavy anymore. It becomes a source of clarity and a much more resilient kind of strength.
I love this line. It's so vivid, right? Shouting is unstable. It's trying to force your will onto the world. But a steadying force, that's like a quiet anchor. It's the calm in the middle of the storm, not the storm itself. And that's exactly the role trust plays in this view.
And this just drives that point home. It's an internal journey. Boasting is for an audience. It's external. But this kind of faith is more like a seed. It grows quietly. It's nurtured from within, not for a big display, but for its own strength. It's deeply, deeply personal. Okay, this is a beautiful concept, but how do we actually, live it? This last part is all about turning this idea into a daily practice, what our source calls the humble walk.
The whole process really boils down to 3 actionable steps. First, and this is huge, you just acknowledge you don't have it all figured out. Then, it's about actively choosing humility when your ego starts making demands. And finally, it's about leaning on that feeling of trust to be your stabilizer, your anchor. And this is so important to get. This isn't some checklist you do once and then you're done. It's a daily orientation. It's the way you decide to face the world each and every morning. It's this constant practice of letting go of the need to be right and instead embracing the peace that comes from feeling guided. And this is where it all leads. This quiet, daily walk, this space of humble trust, away from all the noise of pride and ego, that's the very place where a real, authentic faith can actually live and grow.
So that leaves us with this final thought to take with us. When you strip away all the pride and the boasting, faith becomes this quiet trust. It's not about having the loudest voice in the room, but about having the steadiest heart. The real question, then, isn't just what you believe, but how are you going to choose to walk through your day today?